Yeah, I mean, I always tell people we're all one bad decision away from really messing up our life.
Right.
And, I had done an awful lot of good, but it didn't take much bad to undo the
Right.
good that I had done. And, I mean, quite frankly and quite honestly, I was a virgin when I got married. And so
Wow.
I'd only known one woman. And it just so happened that, you know, this particular woman was, attractive and was attracted to me and gave me a lot of attention and a lot of affirmation and a lot of flattery. And I kind of liked it. And one thing led to the next. And next thing I know, I remember when I crossed that line, and it was just a devastating moment because I know enough about church life that I just threw it all away. Everything that I had was going to be gone. And I remember it was funny because I went and played softball later that night, and I was out in the field and I'm just crying. I just couldn't stop crying because I knew that I was going to have to come to terms with the decision I had just made. And it took me a while. Self-preservation is a powerful force. There's a lot that we do to protect ourselves. And so, I tried everything from maybe she could just move along, but she didn't want to move along, to telling my wife, let's just go relocate someplace else. And people are like, are you crazy? You're pastoring one of the most successful churches around. Why would you do that? I said, well, I just kind of feel like maybe this is the right time, and trying all these things until ultimately I realized this isn't going to happen. And I realized there was only one way out, and I had to confess. I had to come clean. I had to lay it all out there. And to me, it's kind of like holding my finger in this dam, and I know the moment I pull my finger, this massive wall is going to crash on me. And it did, not just on me, but on my family. And then starts that process of, okay, how do you rebuild? And when your whole identity is wrapped up in what you do, and you don't have that anymore. Had I been a real estate agent, it probably would have been a non-issue, right? Had I been anything else, but in particular, when you're clergy and when you're pastoring, and you're pastoring more of an evangelical church, they don't go together. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's fascinating to me because you become like the leader. You become this, and you're young. You're people, it's fodder for attractiveness or women to look at, and I'm sure, it's just that apex, that decision, that where you think it's going to be okay. And then it's innocence lost, and there's the point of no return of that decision. And God, that's why it's so tough when these young guys out there say, well, I just really love this, going to get married. And it's like, and you've been around the world. You did philanthropic work at a young age, and you had a high consciousness. And even then, the hormones, the mechanics of a human being and what they go through, it's just fascinating, so after that, how long did it take you to get over that hump? Not that, meaning, what was the healing process like? What are some of the stages of that process?
Yeah, well, I had to work through a lot of rejection because I went from the penthouse to the doghouse. And everywhere I'd go, I'd see people that would kind of look at me and walk the other way, didn't want to have anything to do with me. And so, but fortunately, there was a handful of people that said, listen, you know what, you're human. We love you. And we're going to walk this pathway with you. And so I was very gracious and thankful for that. I remember a time where, and especially when all your training is ministerial, you'd think some of that might transfer over into another profession. It just doesn't.
Right.
It doesn't. I don't care how good you are. You put it on the resume and, you're reading resumes and it's like, okay, what? And so I ended up doing insurance. Someone gave me a job, but it was brutal because it was cold calls. I'm walking the streets and knocking on doors and all day. I already feel rejected and I'm facing rejection 20, 30 times a day. And it was just brutal until finally another friend said, hey, look, you know what? I'm a senior director at Equifax. And there's this new technology, online real-time verification technology. And he says, why don't you come do this? this. I think you'll be better. And it was great because I then was able to start traveling the country and doing sales with major corporations. And it got me out of the area a little bit while I was healing. But it took a good 2-3 years of just kind of allowing my soul to heal. But the upside is I got to tell you, I'm a better man today because of what I went through. I look back and I was pretty judgmental and I was pretty self-righteous. And it's amazing how personal failure has a way of just slapping that right out of you. And so I find myself just incredibly tolerant, very gracious, and I want to be very merciful to other people. And so I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today